Now, I'd like to bring on a segment called Can They Stay on Top? We're going to look at all the division leaders in the NHL, and I'm going to give my opinion on whether or not the current leaders in the division can stay atop. Now, let's start with the Pacific Division, and the leader is the San Jose Sharks. Now, this one is a bit tricky. As always is the case with the Pacific Division, anything can happen. The Sharks got off to a roaring start in the first week of the season, blowing out every opponent they faced. But starting with the Ducks on January 29th, they've gone to the shootout every game, beating the Edmonton Oilers on January 31st, but losing to the Predators on February 2nd, their first loss of the season, albeit in overtime, which so they get a point in the standings, because there is a right way to lose in the NHL. The power play, which had been extremely potent in the first week, has sputtered dramatically, scoring only once on 12 chances. The penalty kill, however, has been incredible, as they have not given up a power play goal since January 24th. The only team that I see them right now, if their play is any indication how they will be the rest of the season, the only team I could see giving the Sharks a run for their money is the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks are off to a pretty decent start for themselves, winning every game they've played except for a 5-0 home loss to the Canucks and a 3-2 shootout loss to the aforementioned Sharks. The Ducks have a game in hand on the Sharks, however, and a win tonight will certainly help their case against them in their chase. If the Sharks continue to get great goaltending, from Antti Niemi and support him with a potent offense that they definitely have, they can hold off the Ducks and win the Pacific. Now let's take a look at the Central Division and the Chicago Blackhawks. This is easily the most competitive and most exciting division in the Western Conference, if not the entire NHL. Right now, the Blackhawks are 7-0-2 on the season, including an incredible 5-0-2 record on the road. Amazingly, if you've already noticed this, the Blackhawks have only played 2 games at home, and they've won both. On the season, the Blackhawks are first in the penalty kill in the NHL at 94.4%. They are third overall in goals against at 2.0 goals per game, and they are 8th overall in goals for at 3 per game. Here are some concerns for the Blackhawks, though. Despite Chicago's record, they are 21st in the NHL in shots per game at 27.9, and they allow 28.6 shots allowed per game, which is good for 13th overall in fewest shots allowed per game. As loaded as Chicago is on offense, the shot differential suggests that they aren't dominating possession of the puck like most people think they would. The other area of concern is goaltender Corey Crawford. He is off to a blazing start. Let's be honest here. He has got a 1.66 goals against average and a .934 save percentage. But I don't know if that's sustainable, because his career averages are a 2.46 goals against average and a .912 save percentage. Could he be overachieving, or has he actually become a better goaltender this season than he was in the past? That remains to be seen. A team that is knocking on the door of the Chicago Blackhawks is the St. Louis Blues, who are giving them an incredible challenge. The Blues are second place in the Central, perfect at home at 3-0-0 and 3-2 on the road. They have shut out opponents twice at home already. Their goal differential is plus 12, scoring 31 goals as opposed to 19. They lead the league in shot differential as well, averaging 9.6 shots more per game than their opponents. 31.3 shots for and 21.6 shots against. Now, the defense and the offense has been spectacular for the Blues. But believe it or not, the goaltending has not. The goaltending has a save percentage between Brian Elliott and Yaroslav Halak of .890, which is really odd, and the reason why perhaps the Blues are not undefeated. If the team in front of the goaltender is strongly supporting them, the goaltenders have got to be on top of their game, and at times they just haven't. Yaroslav Halak allowed 3 goals to the Dallas Stars and didn't face more than 25 shots against them. Now, if the Blues can get better goaltending, then the rest of the NHL is in trouble, because Yaroslav Halak and Brian Elliott are both very capable of shutting down opponents. And if they do get better, and I kind of expect them to, they will get their goaltending will be better, and their record will indicate that too. If they continue the persistent offense and the persistent defense. Now, with those two teams in mind, this division is going to be an absolute dogfight between the Blackhawks and the Blues. Right now, the Blackhawks have the edge in goaltending, which has been the thorn of the Blues right now, as I've explained. And the Blackhawks have already beaten the Blues so far this season. While the Blues will definitely make the playoffs barring a major collapse, I see the Blackhawks winning this division. Now, in a division that's not so certain and really, honestly, is a complete mess, the Vancouver Canucks lead a Northwest Division that has 4 teams within first place. The Vancouver right now leads the division with 10 points, but Edmonton is right behind them with 9. Minnesota is also right behind them with 9, and Colorado has 8. 2 points separate 4th place from 1st in that division. Calgary is the only one out of the picture at the moment with 4. The highest goal differential in that division is +1 for the Vancouver Canucks. No team has scored more than 21 goals in that division. Also the Vancouver Canucks. The team that I expect to be a contender for the division, along with the Canucks, is Edmonton. They have a strong offense thanks to 3 consecutive years of drafting first overall. They average 2.38 goals per game, which is a little surprising. You can't put these guys on the power play. They have 19 goals on the season. 11 of them have come on the power play. They have been on the power play 11 times and have converted 28.9% of their power plays, which is 6th best in the league. They did have a 6th goal debacle in the first period against the Sharks. But despite that, the Oilers have allowed an average of 2.5 goals per game. The penalty kill is also 5th in the NHL at 87.5%. However, Edmonton is giving up 33.8 shots per game, which is way too many shots for the goaltenders to face on a game-by-game basis. Edmonton will have to cut down those shots if they want to compete better and in order to lessen the workload on goaltending, because if the goaltender works hard every game, they're going to let him some softies. And overall in that division, Vancouver right now looks like a wounded duck with a damaged second line that won't see action until later this month, as Ryan Kessler and David Booth are still out due to injury. If Vancouver can sustain the pressure from the rest of the division, namely Edmonton, they could come out on top, but just barely. The team needs to get scoring from other lines besides the Sedin line. Edmonton also needs to find a way to score more goals at even strength than they have. And despite all of what I just said, I still think Vancouver wins the division, but just barely.